What up guys, Concepto here, and today we're going to talk about how to level quickly. But before we get into it, let me explain one thing. You don't need to be max level in order to create a decent unit for completing the game. Most endgame parts will have the same stats as the parts you already have available, and none of these are necessary to place first in any of the missions. Now for some players who are upset about this grind, this supposed grind, it's honestly not really that bad as people are making it out to be. Honestly, just be glad that the devs didn't decide to go with the crazy loot box system. With that said, of course, some players just want to jump into the garage and get right to making creative builds, but feel like they're locked out since they will have to play the game in order to get the desired pieces for their builds. But I'll touch on that a little more in a later video. But for now, let's talk about the reason that you clicked this video, and that's of course how to level faster. Alright, first things first, race, and race again. Well, that's obvious, right? Focus on only doing the campaign races. Quick races may say quick credits, but you earn so little from these, I would simply avoid them. Honestly, even the later ones, I wouldn't even really do. Alright, so first off, just go through the campaign, and once you find a track that you consistently place high in, run that one over and over. For me, I personally farmed the number 5 track, the Basic GP, the BASC GP, which consists of only 2 tracks and pays out 33k in the end. Another time saver is honestly not visiting the garage as often as you may. Unlike me, I go to the garage almost after every single match, and I spend almost an hour, and then I go back to racing, do a race, go back to the garage for an hour, and that's just not the way to do it. Honestly, you can really do really well with just a basic build and grab some money, and then of course later on, go ahead and build your amazing robot there. So you don't want to keep visiting the garage again, unless it's absolutely needed to fix your robot build. But if you do find yourself in the garage, go ahead and focus on cruising speed, turning thrust, and maybe some boosting. You want to, of course, I like to focus on a craft that is mainly built for racing, not necessarily the weapons. I kind of ignore the weapons when I'm trying to grind there and get more, more credits, because of course, placing first is where you get all the loot. And then when you have to shoot, you have to be behind people. And of course there are traps, but things like that. I think focusing on speed and actually being a better racer will be more beneficial to you than trying to focus on weapons. But of course, we'll discuss how good weapons are in a later video. Alright, like I just said, let's focus on speed and maybe some armor. Focus on speed, of course, but your goal is to finish the races in a faster time. If you find yourself dying a lot, since you're trying to be in front, of course, go ahead and slap on some armor, or at least enough armor to get you through that race if you start to be first consistently for that one. If the race you are grinding allows you to reverse shift, then of course you can have your main unit have decent armor, and then once you're out of the pack, have your sub-unit be your speed racer so you can complete the race ahead. Alright, the most important thing to leveling up the fastest in this game is to not ever retry. Yeah, that's kind of weird to say, right? Don't ever retry, because remember, the goal here is to get fast cash, the most credits. So after a race, you don't want to hit that retry just because you didn't place first, or you're in third and you didn't get the max amount. Why waste your time to do all the races over again and get nothing for the races that you just did? You might as well get out there, earn your 9,000, and get back into the race and try to hit that 33k or whatever amount of credits you earn from doing that race. Even if you hit 4th place, just go to the next race and start a new one, because you'll still earn some credits. If you're doing like a circuit that has like 5 races in it and you do poorly in the first one, just go ahead and just go to the second one. Don't be like, oh man, I gotta get 1st or 2nd place in the first one as well, let me just retry this and place first. If this is not your goal again is to get fast cash. If your goal, of course, is to get 1st place in all races, that's a whole different thing. The only time you should ever honestly hit that retry is if you just get decimated at the beginning of a race. If you find yourself like boosting too early and you just get blown up, and you try to catch back up, you get blown up again, that's just too much time lost, honestly. And then of course you can go ahead and reset it then, but honestly gauge like the amount of time. I would probably only do it like within the first like 10-15 seconds. Any later than that, you're just wasting time. Just go ahead and just race it out and just go to the next one. Alright guys, I did a few races using a base model, and I was able to find out which track gave me the most per minute, and I found that actually doing race number 5 was the best one for me, because I'm able to get in 1st and 2nd place consistently with that one. It only took me about 4 to 4.5 minutes every single time, so I get about 8.5k per minute, which is really good. If you want to do a little bit longer race, the next one I think is really good is about number 10. If you can make it up there. Yes, number 10 is a little bit more difficult, so I think you would have to have a little bit more advanced builds here, and it will take some time. You're looking up to almost 18 to 20 minutes doing this one, but if you can complete it in 18.5 minutes, which I did, you're looking at 7.9k a minute, which is still slightly less than the race 5 there, but if you're kind of looking for the experience, or even just, you know, it's part of your progression, you might as well bang it out and get it there. As far as quick races, the only one out of all the quick races in the game, the only one I found to be the most beneficial is number 6. It's called Super Right Carnival. You can pretty much do that in about a minute and a half, even a little faster if you have a good build. If you're using a basic build, you probably find yourself almost maybe a minute, 40 seconds, 30 seconds, but you're gonna be getting about 9,000 per minute for your time. So go ahead and bang that one out. Hey, just do quick race number 6 once you get that unlocked. Again, Super Right Carnival will be a really good progression there. And of course, it does become a little grindy. In the beginning, it is kind of quick, but please understand, guys, that your goal, it's not like you have to be max level in order to be near the top. You do have access to some assist modules that you don't have access at the lower levels, but trust me, these things are more gimmicky and they're more play around. They're fun to use, but they're not essential. They're not like, oh man, I can't get rank 10. I can't beat this particular person because he has this module and I do not. The best modules in the game, in my opinion, are the break modules and the turn assist, and you get those almost immediately, I believe. Maybe rank 5. I don't really remember the break modules, but once you get those really help. They just slapping those on make your unit, even slapping those on the basic unit, makes that thing feel so good, and like you can actually do something with that. Anyways, that's gonna be all for this video. If you liked it, please hit that like button. If you didn't, then go ahead and hit that like button still. Of course, if you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Check me out. Check out my other videos that I have. You know, I made a couple. You may find some that you like, playing some other games that you may enjoy, other than Breakarts 2. If you want to get notified, go ahead and hit that little bell after you subscribe, of course, and check me out next time. Alright guys, thanks for being here. This is Consento. Peace out.
DDR base. DDR base. DDR base. I am here, and my name is Chaos. Rap is to me like music is the Amadeus. Wolfgang, the famous composer. When I stepped in, I told him to move over. I am the new kid on the block, and a mission to make your body.